This is the OpenMV racer that we found on the DIY Robocars site. We built it pretty much to spec, so it's just a cheap little robot chassis that we found on Amazon from the link there. Only a couple little tweaks that we made. One was, this is a slightly newer version of the OpenMV board. So this is the H7 version of it. And then the H7 version had this little battery connector for a LiPo battery. So what's interesting about that is it seems to not only power the board, but it has a pass through to the motor shield and actually winds up powering the motors, which is great. So we don't need to have the larger battery pack with 4 AA's on the back. We can just do it with this little LiPo battery here, which is a 2000 milliamp battery. So, and then the code pretty much ran stock. We only made a couple little tweaks to the code. Let me just get this going here. The only changes we made to the code itself were just the ones recommended in the tutorial. So that was changing the centering position so it would actually drive straight at the beginning. And that took a couple little tweaks to get it right. And then eventually, we also had to train it to this color of green. So just use the threshold setter within the OpenMV IDE. And that was like really simple to do. And it's doing a pretty good job. If you haven't tried too sharp a turn, or if the sort of loop of the track is too tight, it gets a little confused. By and large, it's doing really well. So we're kind of stoked on this little thing. This is like a quick afternoon build. I think our next thing we're gonna do is just try to hook it up to some more powerful motors so it can move it a little bit faster, and see how it goes, and maybe start playing around with maybe some QR codes or April codes and see what else we can get this little guy to do. So thanks to the DIY Robocars community for getting this posted and giving us something to play with.